Hello, people. This is going on YouTube too, so for those on YouTube, I also have a TikTok account, Daryl Ernst, the conscientious objector. But this video is about how government only has two tools to enforce any policy, and that is violence and theft. And they will use that to extreme to enforce any crime. So let's take the heinous crime of jaywalking. Say this man lives in the center of a block. The place he works right across the street. And at that hour in the morning, there's never any traffic coming through there when he goes to work. He either has to walk a half a block this way to the crosswalk, across the street, and a half a block the other way. That's a full block plus to get to the workplace right across the street. Okay, Mr. Johnny Officer usually rounds the corner about the time he's almost all the way across the street every day. So the cop gives him a ticket, tells him he can't be jaywalking. And so Johnny takes the ticket. The next day, the cops rounds the corner, sees Johnny crossing the street again. So he gives him another ticket. And Johnny says, "You can keep writing me these tickets, but I'm not paying these tickets. I'm going to be on my feet for 12 hours today. I'm not walking an extra block to get to work when I can just walk across the street and there's never any cars coming at this time of day." An officer says, "You will obey the law." Okay, if you're out there and you say, well, it's the law, he has to obey the law, he has to walk this extra block, then you're part of the problem. So again, next day, officer rounds the corner, there's Johnny, almost across the street. Officer goes in, he says, "Next time I see you do that, I'm just going to arrest you." Johnny says, "Well, do what you have to do, but I'm not obeying this ridiculous law when there's no cars coming and I can just walk right across the street and be at work." The cop says, "Well, you will obey the law. This is the law. You're going to obey it." So the next day, the cop decides, I'm going to outsmart Johnny. And the cop hides in the doorway at the next building. Johnny comes out. He looks both ways, just like his mama told him to. Look both ways before crossing the street. Johnny sees it's clear. Johnny starts walking across the street. Mr. Officer jumps out from behind the doorway, points a gun, and he says, "Stop right there. I told you not to walk across the street. Right here." Johnny gives him the finger and takes 2 steps, and Mr. Officer says, "Boom, boom, 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 boom," and puts Johnny on the ground. Johnny dies. Johnny died for jaywalking. That is what you support when you support the existence of government, because they will go to no limits to enforce the most ridiculous laws and policies. So, when you say, oh, we have to have government, it's a necessary evil, well, you're saying that we have to have this institution that'll kill a man for just walking across the street. All right, everybody, let that sink in and have a wonderful night.